Lucky for me, I stumbled on a fake sound burger. This thing is driving me nuts. One of the most buzzed about releases last year in the audio community was Audio-Technica's re-release of their 40-year-old portable turntable that we lovingly refer to as the Sound Burger. Now, this was so popular, it sold out in like just a couple of days. In fact, I didn't even know about it before it had already sold out. Luckily, I've been able to watch my friend Jeremy on his Instagram page, Budget Audiofiler, who was able to obtain one, operate it and play records on it, and it looks like it's a fun little unit. Also, Techmoan did a great review, full video review of the re-release. But what are those of us to do who missed out completely? Well, lucky for me, I stumbled on a fake sound burger. This thing is driving me nuts. All right, it's the fake sound burger from Sylvania, released in 2016. I found this while thrifting a couple weekends ago, and this thing is interesting enough that I thought I would make a whole video about it. Does it even work? How does it play records? What does it sound like? What are the features? Let's dive into this fake sound burger next. Right, as I mentioned before, this is kind of a knockoff on the classic Audio-Technica Sound Burger. This was actually released in 2016, I believe, from the research that I did. And this obviously doesn't have a lot of the same features that the Sound Burger does, but here's kind of everything you need to know is right here. Okay, you got 3345 switch here. Here's your speaker. This chooses between USB and battery power. You can hook up headphones here, and then this is the USB cable that you can use to hook up to your computer and record. Now, if I flip this over, move down here, you'll see this is where the battery compartment is. It takes 4 AA batteries. All right, so the overall design is sort of along these lines. You basically pop this open, and you've got your tone arm here. Push this over here and rest it there, and then you press down on this little clamp here that holds the tone arm, and you got your big fancy platter right here, and then we've got up here our volume and power knob, and it even comes with a 45 adapter. Let me grab a record and put it on this and show you what I experienced when I first used it. Okay, I've got an LP selected here, and part of the fun of selecting music on YouTube is trying to find something that won't get flagged. So I have chosen today the Exit Swinging album featuring the Whetstone High School Stage Band. Yeah, that's right, a high school band. These are one of those where like they recorded it and just mailed it in and got their LP copies back. Anyway, I paid $1 for this only because it has a copy of the Beatles' Hard Day's Night on there. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this and see if it is acting up in the same way it did the first day I got it and tried it out. So basically what you do is you close this here and power on with this switch, and this will be activated once I move the tone arm here. It will begin, the platter will begin to spin. Now this is actually kind of interesting because the very first time I put a record on this, this was skipping horribly. It was just flying right over the surface and not playing, especially on LPs. Let me move it over here to Hard Day's Night and give you a little sample of what that sounds like. So I think it's trying to skip again a little bit. And one of the things that I'm curious about is sort of the dynamics, if you will, on this album. Meaning this album is probably not mastered, you know, very loudly. But on some of the more commercial ones, when I play it, especially if it has a lot of bass, then it just seems to want to bounce the needle a little bit. It did it on 45s. Let me throw a 45 on here and see if it's acting up the same way. And we'll kind of make an assessment from there. Okay, so for the 45, I'm going to go with Les Diamants? Oh man, I'm from Alabama and I'm horrible at pronouncing French words. I apologize. Anyway, this is a French band, and the song on here that I'm going to play is Back in Black. I bought this because it had covers of Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby, which are actually pretty fun on there. So for a 45, you can pull the adapter out, place it down, set this here. Now we need to make sure we change this switch to the 45 speed. Get that? Okay. We'll close that. Now it'll be interesting to see if this skips again. Maybe I was just crazy that day. All right, here we go. Well, this seems to be playing a lot better actually than the very first time I tried it out. I'm not exactly sure what's changed. I didn't do anything to it really. Again, I'm gonna actually go try and grab one of the albums that I was listening to earlier and throw it on here. I'm probably not gonna be able to have you guys be able to hear the sound, but I want to see if it's still doing that with one of those albums. Be right back. Okay, so here's how it acted the very first time I used it. And I don't have to worry about probably any of the sound getting flagged because, all right, you're going to see this. It just doesn't even really want to work. See how bad it's skipping? It's just not even fitting in the grooves. And this is actually, all right, that's driving me nuts. All right, hold on. This is actually a tom-tom club, and I imagine it's just probably maybe got too much bass, so it's making the skip. So I'm actually going to try to put a new stylus needle really on this right here. Let's see, where is that? I actually found a needle on eBay. So I'm going to put this on here, swap these out, and see if it will help in this instance. Okay, I changed out the needle. These always crack me up on these inexpensive units. Diamond needle. Oh, it's a diamond. A $12 diamond. Okay, anyway. All right, I'm going to put the Tom Tom Club album back. And I'm going to throw it on here and see if it'll play. There it goes again. All right. Okay, so it's still skipping even with the new diamond needle. So here's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if I'm going to throw that other high school band album on and see if it plays fine on this again, and then maybe come up with some ideas from there. Okay, high school band. Whetstone Band, take two. Let's just go straight to, well, I'll start here. It's so crazy because this one seems to want to play fine without any skipping. One thing that I noticed with this this LP versus the Tom Tom Club is the Tom Tom Club's got a little bit of like wobble to it. It's definitely not pressed as heavily as this, which is sort of funny. Think about mass-produced album. Not nearly doing the same job as this little high school band's album here. But I'm wondering if maybe just the thicker quality of vinyl is helping this stay in the groove better. Okay, so here's what I have figured out with this player, with this Sound Burger. That is, I actually bought this Neil Young Harvest LP at the same store where I found that. And I don't know if you could tell or not, but it's so wobbly. The vinyl used on it is so cheap. I mean, it's like you could just wave it in the wind, right? And that is also the case with the Tom Tom record. And that Neil Young album is the one that I listened to first, and it skipped, and then the Tom Tom album skipped. And then, like I showed you earlier, when I put this high school band's album, which is sturdier vinyl on there, it seemed to play fine. And that sort of also tracks, to use a bad turntable pun, along with the use of 45s. It always played 45s better than LPs, those two LPs that I played. Probably because, 45 is always much sturdier vinyl. And, I think at the end of the day, just the better the vinyl, the better that needle can track. I actually looked at this to see if there was a way to sort of adjust the weight of the tone arm when I was using those cheap plastic ones. And obviously there's not. It's just this little cheap plastic box here. And as we could see, the stylus change didn't really matter either. So it comes down to the quality of the vinyl that you use on these. And, again, it's a cheap little fun plastic toy, so you can't expect that much. But, the better the record, the better it'll play. Now, I know what most of you guys are going to say, which is you shouldn't play a great, sturdy record with this cheap diamond needle, or else it's just going to ruin it. And, feel free to leave all those comments. It's kind of an obvious thing at this point, but I'm obviously not playing this for hours on end. This is just sort of a toy. It's not my main listening rig. But yeah, I think the better the record, the better the quality of vinyl, the better it's going to play on this little guy. Now, there's something else that I want to show you on this, which is I don't really like the way it's designed in terms of portability. The idea is like you would want to grab it here at the front to carry it, and guess what it does is it pushes the needle in there, right? And that's not good. That's just going to wear that down faster than it should. Not the diamond needle, we've ruined it. And you can't grab it from the back, because that's what I did to save the diamond needle. And when I grabbed it here, it literally flew out of my hands and it landed on the table and it made a huge crash. And my wife in the other room said, "What was that?" And I said, "Oh no, I dropped the Sound Burger. I don't know if it'll work ever again." But as you can see, it still works. Well, there you have it. All about the fake Sound Burger from Sylvania. This was a fun little toy to play around with. Is this something that I think you should buy? If you find this in a thrift store for a couple bucks, why not? It's kind of fun. I mean, I replaced the diamond needle for like $12, I think, so wasn't the end of the world. It's really cumbersome to carry around. Every time I grab it here, it flies out of my hand. Every time I grab it here, I smush the stylus into the front. So I don't know if this is something I would want to lug around to record shows or shops to try to audition records with. It also needs a really nice flat surface, and as you saw earlier, it really needs quality records to really operate properly. But like I said, if you stumble on one for a couple bucks, why not? It's kind of fun, but don't spend a lot of money on it. I actually looked these up on eBay, and they're selling for like 40 bucks or more, which, hey, that's the way it goes, right? Somebody buys it at that price, and that's how it's set. But honestly, again, fun toy, but I really hope to actually pick up the Audio-Technica Sound Burger re-release. It's going to be supposedly reissued again. Do we reissue actual turntables? I don't know if that's the right phrase to use. I'm so used to talking about albums being reissued, but it's being re-released again supposedly in 2023. And the original retail price last year was $200, so hopefully it's right around the same. I think that would be more fun than this unit. The Audio-Technica has Bluetooth capabilities. Looks like it's just much better construction and probably plays, a variety of weights of records totally fine. So if I were you, I would hold out for the real Sound Burger. But like I said, if you stumble on one of these for a couple bucks, why not have fun? Now, this isn't the only piece of nostalgic gear that I have found recently in a thrift store. I recently found this Optimus STA small little full receiver for like $6. And if you have any interest in hearing how well that receiver sounded and how much it surprised me, you can do so by watching that video here.